Welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to do something, well, incredibly visually satisfying today. We are going to completely deconstruct the physical reality of building a rooftop solar power plant. We hear about renewable energy literally all the time, but we rarely get to see the actual nuts, bolts, and raw concrete that go into making it happen. So we're going to strip away the mystery and take a detailed visual walkthrough of how a system is born, right from the bare roof all the way to the moment it's ready to generate clean electricity.
So what does it actually take to build a solar power plant right on your roof? Usually we just look up and see these sleek, futuristic sheets of dark glass soaking up the sun. But beneath that polished surface is a seriously heavy-duty construction project. Long before a single spark of electricity is generated, there's a massive amount of physical engineering, structural planning, and just good old-fashioned manual labor required to get that system up and running safely.
Okay, let's dive into this. We've got our visual journey mapped out for us. First, laying the foundation. Second, adapting to the roof. Third, assembling the solar array. And finally, managing the power output.
All right, starting right off with Section 1, laying the foundation, focusing on the groundwork and structural mounts.
It's kind of wild, but notice how surprisingly low-tech the very first step of a high-tech solar plant can be. We've got a skilled worker deeply engaged in raw, manual labor, setting a heavy metal strut directly into a form filled with wet concrete. And look closely at what's in their gloved hand. It's just a simple plumb bob on a string. Gravity is literally doing the work here to make sure that post is absolutely perfectly vertical before the concrete cures. It's a great reminder that before we can harness the sun, we really have to master the earth. This single concrete footing is going to have to hold hundreds of pounds of equipment while fighting off incredible wind forces, so this precise alignment is absolutely crucial.
So what we just saw there is the creation of the mounting structure. Think of this as the unmoving skeleton of the power plant. This foundational framework is often anchored in those heavy concrete ballasts we just saw, all designed to safely secure the solar panels against extreme wind shear and severe weather. Without a perfectly engineered mounting structure, those giant panels would essentially act like sails in a storm, right? The concrete gives us that necessary counterweight, ensuring the array stays exactly where it was built, day in and day out.
Moving right along to Section 2, adapting to the roof, looking at flat versus sloped environments.
And this brilliantly illustrates how every roof is its own unique environment. We've got two completely different structural solutions here. On a sloped roof, the hardware is actually pretty minimal. You use these relatively small, low-profile metal brackets spaced out across the surface. But on a flat roof, well, panels can't just lay flat or they wouldn't catch the sun efficiently at all. So teams of professionals have to build those heavy concrete mounts combined with large tilted metal frames to create an artificial angle.
So just to summarize these visual differences, flat roof installations absolutely demand artificial angling. You're basically building a little hill on a flat surface. That means you need heavy concrete weights to hold the tilted structures down, specifically without puncturing the roof membrane. Sloped roofs, on the flip side, give you that angle for free. You get to utilize the existing pitch of the roof, which definitely saves on heavy materials, but it does mean you have to drill those small brackets directly into the roof's structural surface. It's really a fascinating engineering trade-off between managing weight and surface penetration.
That brings us to Section 3, assembling the solar array, specifically looking at panel placement and scale. Take a second to really look at the sheer scale of things here. We're up on a sloped roof, and this highly coordinated team is manually lifting, hauling, and precisely aligning these massive photovoltaic panels onto the pre-installed metal rails. These panels are huge. When you see them from the street, they just look like neat little flat tiles. But up close, right next to a person, you realize the massive physical footprint of just one module. It takes tremendous, careful effort to move these heavy, fragile sheets of glass and silicon into perfect position, slotting them together like a giant puzzle, all while trying to keep your balance on a pitched roof under the blazing sun.
Now for the final piece of the puzzle, Section 4, managing the power output with inverters and storage.
You see, as amazing as solar panels are, they're really just catching raw, unrefined energy in the form of direct current, or DC. But your home, and the main electrical grid for that matter, run on alternating current, or AC. So hiding just behind those sleek panels is what we call the brains of the operation. We need specialized, heavy-duty hardware mounted right there on the roof to convert that raw energy into usable AC power, handle smart grid integrations, and safely store it for when the sun inevitably goes down. And here is where that heavy electrical lifting happens. If you peek around the back of those arrays, bolted directly onto the metal rails, you'll find these really impressive banks of hardware. In one setup, you might see a beautifully organized row of white K-star inverters, each flanked by junction boxes. In another, you might see a pair of grow-out inverters sitting right above a large black Mars Riva battery unit. This equipment right here is the vital bridge between the panels up above and the electrical sockets inside your building.
Let's break down exactly what we're looking at with this hardware. We've got those K-star and grow-out inverters doing the crucial job of flipping that unrefined DC power into the AC power your house can actually use. We also noticed a Mars Riva 5.22 kilowatt-hour storage unit, which is super cool because it allows this specific power plant to bank excess energy for a rainy day or for use at night. And what connects all of this? Notice those thick, black, heavy-duty protective wiring conduits swooping between the boxes? Those conduits are incredibly important. They guarantee that high-voltage raw power is safely transported across the roof, totally protected from rain, intense UV rays, and whatever else nature throws at it.
So the crucial point here is, well, bringing it all together into this, a gorgeous, pristine, fully assembled solar panel array just basking in a clear blue sky. This single image represents the highly satisfying culmination of everything we just explored. The wet concrete poured around plumb bobs, the calculated metal framing adopting to a flat roof, the heavy manual labor of lifting the glass, and the intricate, weatherproofed wiring of the inverters. It all perfectly comes together to form this silent, powerful, clean energy engine sitting right on top of a building.
It kinda completely changes your perspective, doesn't it? The next time you're out walking or driving by a building and you spot those dark panels reflecting the sky, I challenge you to ask yourself, will you look past the glass? Will you visualize the heavy concrete ballasts holding it down, the metal skeletons bracing the wind, and those complex mechanical brains churning out power behind the scenes? There is an entire world of incredible engineering sitting quietly on rooftops all around us. Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and remember to always keep looking a little deeper.